was a king, Darius the Mede. He ran Babylon, but he had princes oversee his kingdom. But there was like 120, that was too many. Then he appointed Daniel to oversee them. And in just a little time, he proved that he was smarter than these dudes combined. So the king said, fine, the way I'm doing things is senseless. Daniel can do it all. Who needs all of these princes? Yeah. So we came up with a plan to get rid of all of them and have Daniel watching the land. What? But when the men heard this, they said the king is tripping. Daniel don't deserve this. No. And they started searching for any little flaws that they had seen so they could add them up and bring them all up to the king. But they could find not one thing. So they put their heads together and they got one thing. They went to him and said, Your Highness, if anyone refused to worship you, you should just feed them to the lions and make it an irreversible law. And the king said, yeah, that's raw, I'll sign it. When Daniel heard of this absurd law, he went right upstairs to pray and he didn't care if they saw. Matter of fact, he had his windows open wide, put his hands in the sky and praised the Lord Most High. 3 times a day he went on this way, and the word started to spread and the haters was on their way to see it for themselves. And when they finally did, they just grinned and said, ooh, we gon' tell. They went to him and said, you know that law you wrote about feeding folks to the lions, the one that can't be revoked? Yeah. Well, see, we caught Daniel at his place. He was lying on his face and praying 3 times a day. Yeah. And he was so bold with it. He was on the floor with it. The windows all open. He didn't care that we was scoping him. And it was so blatant. We know Dan is your man, so understand we not hating. But see, you need to make him an example, cause your laws are being trampled. Pretty soon there'll be a scandal. How do you want this handled? And the king spent the rest of the day trying to figure out a way to make this work out for Daniel. But they was on his case. They said this law is Persian and it cannot be erased. So see, we need to take some into Daniels and put him under arrest. Put him inside the den and let the lions do the rest. And the king was like, take him and put him in the den, and man, I hope his God can save him. So they went to feed him to the lions and he wasn't even crying. So they threw him up inside and closed the door up behind him. And the king was uptight. He refused to eat and didn't sleep for the rest of that night. But at the crack of dawn when the rooster crowed, he ran to the lion's den where the dude was thrown. And then he started crying, Daniel, was your God able to save you from the lions? Then he heard, long live the king. These lions must be starving, they haven't eaten a thing. My God has some angels looking after me because I'm innocent. I've done no wrong to your majesty. And the king was so happy. He got him out the den and then he seen that the lions hadn't scratched him. All because he trusted in the Lord. But now it's time for the haters to get their just rewards. And the king had him thrown in the den, and the lions ate the men before they made it to the floor. And the king made a report and sent it to every nation and language in the world. He said that Daniel's God is the greatest and no, there is not an equal. He performs miracles and watches out for his people. He reigns from Assyria to Zion, and I've seen it with my eyes. He saved Daniel from the lion.